Hello, everybody. Today we're going to do exercise 29, drawing flats on the grid. For this, we're going to go to Photoshop, select a US page. You can keep it at 300 pixels. It really doesn't matter because what we are doing today is all Illustrator work. So it will be drawing. And so it really doesn't matter what resolution you have on your page. First, before we start, I want to show you a couple tools and how they work. For example, if you get your pen tool, not the pencil, but the pen, we can create, and if you have paths selected, we can create a path. If you have shape selected, this is how that works. It just creates a shape, right? And you can keep going on this. So when you have the shape selected, every anchor point will be part of your shape. Now let's just get out of this and select path. So when you select the path, with my mouse, I'm just clicking it in and releasing. And then I go to wherever spot I want and I click. And then wherever I want, I click. So I click and release, click and release, click and release. Okay, so this is my path. But if you notice, it doesn't really show it as a layer, or it doesn't even show on the background. So your paths are not visible in a layer. So you're never going to see that. I mean, you can use that, for example, if you have your text, if you're here, your text looks just like this. But if you get on your path, it becomes different. So if I was here, then your writing would be right around here. Okay, so this is how that works. We're gonna delete that text layer here. Now you don't see the path that we created because I said it's not visible on the layers. So what you need to do is go to Window and select Path. Your path is showing here. So your paths are going to show here. So that's your work path. So if you click on this, you'll find your path again. Now, while we are on the pen, let's go back to the pen. Now, to make this shape, I just clicked and released, clicked and released, right? So I'm going to create another path now. You can create that. So that's going to be our second one. So I'm going to push and release first, push and release again. And now I'm going to just push and hold my mouse key and do this. So you see that? So it's actually allowing you to kind of shape your path and give it an angle here. Okay, so you can also do that. Let's just do that. So let's say I hold it and it just flattens that out. I can do this. You know, I can hold this and do that. So it will allow you to create really interesting pieces going this way. Now let's say this is our path and it's finished. What you can also do, if I wanted to move this path up here, what I can use is this tool here. So this is called Path Selection Tool. So you can just select your path and move it around. And you can see, you know, this is my first path. This is the second one we created. So this tool here, path selection, that works to move your path around. Direct selection tool will allow you to take one of those anchor points and just pull them out. Okay, so this one makes it a little bit easier to manipulate and work on these. So these tools are really helpful when you're trying to create a pattern, and you can use Illustrator for that, but there are some options on Photoshop as well. With the pen tool, you can also add anchor points to your spots. So those anchor points, whatever you add in there, then you can just go back and move those anchor points. So with your direct selection tool, you can make that, curve it up a little bit. So this is a really helpful tool for those purposes. So to be able to see your distances, it would be useful to have your grid on. Here's an example of what we are trying to do. So we're going to make a top and a skirt, and I will show you how to do that. This is the simplest way just to get you started on Illustrator. So before I start, I want to have my measurements. I want to see where my inches are. For the grid, you have to go to View, Show, and select Grid so that you can see the grid. Now, I'm going to zoom that in so you can see. You see that I have those 8 boxes here. I want to change that to 4. These are the subdivisions. You don't need 8 subdivisions. You can just use 4. What you can do is, if you're on a Mac, go to Photoshop, press Preferences, and then go to Guides, Grid, and Slices. And you're going to change your subdivisions to 4. I also want to have my ruler showing so that I see my measurements and it's more visible. So for that, you can go to View, Rulers, and it's going to show you the rulers. Now here it's showing me in inches, but if it is not in inches, again, you can go to Photoshop, Preferences, and go to Units and Rulers, and you'll have to select inches. You can select centimeters, millimeters, pixels also, so you can select whatever. Now, those preferences are not under Photoshop on a PC. So if you have a PC, you have to go to Edit and go all the way down, and you'll see the preferences under Edit. So it's all the way down below. Okay, so now we have our 4 subdivisions, we have our grid, we have our ruler showing the inches. Now we're going to start with our top pattern. So it's a V-neck, sleeveless top. If you just click on this ruler and move this here, it's going to give you a guide in the middle. So this is our middle point. By the way, when we are drawing, if you want your drawing to snap to the corners of your grid, you can also go to View, Snap to, and select Grid. That makes it a little bit easier to draw. Okay, so we're going to follow the exercise from the book, and we are going to first create our anchor points. So first we are going to put our guides in here. For that, I'm going to create a separate layer, and I'll call it Guides. And you can go to the pencil tool, or you can use the brush tool as well. And you're going to put your guide points here. And I'm going to make it a brighter color so that you can see it. 1 pixel, which is hard to see. So let's make it 14. Even bigger. Okay, let's do 19 so that you can see it. So that's my first point. My second point is 2 boxes away, 2 boxes down. And then 3.5 boxes down is my third anchor point. So my guides are going to be on this layer here. Okay, my second guide point is going to be here. My third one is going to be right here. Okay, and then, so this is our top. It's going to be a V-neck with no sleeves, and then go 2 boxes away from this guide here, and then go 1 more point and go up. This is going to be your next one. And then your other one is going to be following that guide, the same spot as this one. Okay, so now we have our guides. You don't have to use 19 pixels for the pencil. I just did it so that you can see those points. Now we're going to go to our pen tool, and this is going to be a V-neck top. So this is the V-neck. So you want to go from this point to that point, and then go to this point. So this is your shoulder right here. And then go to this point, but don't release it. Just kind of give it a curve. This is your armhole, okay? And then come back here. Oops, you don't want to come back here like that. Let's see. Okay, while you're here, push the Option key or Alt key on a PC to go here. You come here, and we are done with one side of our pattern. Now you can see that we created that path. Our layer is empty right now. I'm going to call this layer the top, because we're going to make that top here, but right now there's nothing in it. So I'm just going to delete it just so you can see that nothing really changes here. Yeah, see, your path has nothing to do with that layer. Your path is right here. Okay, so now we want to select this path, copy it, and then paste it to the other side, flip it horizontally and paste it to the other side so that we have our whole top. So to do that, we have to go to our path selection tool. And when you go on here, it's going to select it. So now you just say copy, and you're going to say paste it. Now it's pasted. So if you just go there, you'll be able to see this. But we want to flip it. So transform path and say flip horizontal, and then move this right here, and we have our entire top. Now we have a path, but we don't have the top in any layer. So we really need this to be a visible layer. So what we need to do here is we need to select both of them. So if I go to the path selection, let's deselect. If I go to path selection, and if I just select this, and if I go to here, it's going to select that one part. Okay, I'll deselect. If you want to get both of them selected, you have to hold one, hold the Shift key, and hold the other one so that both paths are selected. And now you go to your selection here. So now we have everything selected. Now, if you want to create a border on this so that it actually shows up as a layer, let's just create another layer here, and we'll call it top. And while we're on this layer, I'm going to take that selection and I'm going to add a stroke, okay? 10 pixel. I actually want to select a black color. Okay, so now we have borders. So now we actually have something on this layer. While I'm on the top layer, I can go to my paint bucket and I can fill this in, right? So I can select the color. I'm gonna select this one and go in, and now I colored it. You can use the move tool now to move this, maybe make it a little bit smaller, narrow it down. So you can make all these changes now to this, okay? Now we have our top, and I'm gonna get rid of the guides so we don't see the guides now. And our top is done. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the skirt. For that, I'm going to have another layer. So we're using our pen tool, and I'm going to go make a very simple skirt. Okay, I'm gonna go to my guide tool and make some changes to my anchor points. So I feel like, okay, get rid of the anchor points first, and then you can move these things. I feel like that looks a little better here. And then okay, all right, so that's gonna be my skirt. So that's my path. Now I'm going to select this path. So I made a selection. So it's selected. Now I can stroke it to have a border. And to stroke again, I'm going to use black. So edit, stroke. Okay, now I have my borders. So now I can see it in this layer. I'm going to call this skirt. And now I can go to my paint bucket again. And I'm going to select the same color. And I'm going to put that color in here. I'll deselect to get rid of that. So I have my top and my skirt. And again, you can always use the move tool to make changes to it if you want. And make them go together if you want to make it a little bigger. Okay, now we have the top and we have the bottom. So now we can add different designs to them if you want. And we can also get rid of our grid. So I'm going to get rid of the grid. Okay, we got rid of that. Okay, and I can go to fill and put a pattern on this. So I could do that also. On the skirt, what I'm going to do is I'll make some buttons. I'm just going to use this ellipse tool and create tiny little pieces. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, I think 3 buttons is okay. If you want, you can just write drawing flats. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to save this.